Bangladesh is at a crossroads right now, navigating a really intense period of transition. And right in the middle of all this, a new generation is finding its political voice. So let's dive into that perspective through the words of a young political activist, Lutful Hasan Rumi, to really understand the vision for the nation's future. Okay, so the first thing we need to get our heads around is this feeling of instability that's in the air. Rumi argues this isn't some sign of failure. Actually, he says it's a completely normal, even predictable phase. After any huge upheaval, whether it's a revolution or gaining independence, there's always going to be a period of chaos and readjustment. That's just how it works. The real question isn't about the instability itself, but how you navigate through it. So, why this massive push for change? What's it really all about? Well, according to this new wave of activists, this isn't about just swapping one leader for another. The goal is so much deeper than that. We're talking about completely dismantling a system that they see as fundamentally broken. And here's where they get to the heart of the problem. Rumi uses a really strong term, a fascist system. He's describing a state machine that, in his view, was never actually built to serve its citizens. Instead, he argues its main job, its whole purpose, became to exploit them for the benefit of whoever was in power. And this idea, well, it has deep historical roots. The argument goes like this. Even after independence in 1971, Bangladesh never really got rid of the old, exploitative government structures it inherited, first from the British in '47 and then from Pakistan. The tools of control, the way the system worked, basically stayed the same. They were just picked up and used by new rulers to exploit their own people. And this is what that system actually looks like in real life. These aren't just abstract political theories. These are things that happen to real people. Rumi points to specific consequences. People disappearing just for having a different opinion, teenagers getting punished for their writing, extrajudicial killings, and just the systemic crushing of basic rights for everyone, from laborers to professionals. But, this isn't just about pointing out what's wrong. It's about proposing a solution, a vision for what they call a new Bangladesh. And that really is the central question driving this whole movement, isn't it? If you're going to tear down the old system, what exactly are you going to build in its place? What does this new social contract actually look like? Now, here is maybe the most crucial point of all. The ultimate goal isn't just to get rid of one authoritarian regime. It's to build a system that is structurally immune, a system that can't be taken over by another one. It's about creating firewalls against future oppression. So how do you do that? Well, a three-step approach is being talked about. It involves a fundamental reform of the Constitution itself, big changes to the very structure of the state, and a complete reorganization of the administrative system that runs daily life. And listen, these aren't just some vague dreams. There are already concrete proposals on the table from different reform commissions. Ideas like a bicameral legislature, that just means having two houses of parliament for more checks and balances, moving towards a provincial system to spread power out from the capital, and even redrawing parliamentary districts. It's all part of the conversation. But of course, systems and structures are only half the equation, right? Who is going to lead this massive transformation? So the focus now shifts from the what to the who. What kind of leadership does this new era really need? Well, the list of what they're looking for is pretty demanding. Right at the top, you have indomitable courage. The guts to take big risks for a bigger vision. That's followed by total honesty, real patriotism, and an absolutely uncompromising stance when it comes to protecting the nation's sovereignty from outside influence. But then, beyond all those classic leadership traits, Rumi brings up something really unique and powerful. The single most important quality, he says, is for a leader to truly own their people. So, what on earth does that actually mean? It means taking unconditional responsibility. It means a leader has to protect their supporters, protect their citizens, defend them publicly, and take ownership of what they do. It's about standing with them, especially when they're vulnerable or under attack, no matter if their actions were perfect or flawed. And we actually have a perfect real-world example of this in action. Right after the uprising, some Indian media challenged Dr. Muhammad Yunus. They said, hey, your people are breaking laws, they're damaging statues. He didn't back away. He didn't distance himself. He owned them. He stood up and said their actions were a direct result of the old government's provocations. That, in Rumi's view, is what a true leader does. They protect their own. Now, this call for a new kind of leader isn't happening in a bubble. It's being fueled by a huge shift in how people think and feel. This movement isn't just about a few leaders, it's about the people themselves waking up. Rumi tells this really powerful story about himself and his friends to show this huge change. We're talking about people who were once completely apolitical. They were focused on poetry, art, their jobs, and now they have thrown themselves into activism. People who never ever posted about politics are now on the front lines, and they're driven by this incredible new hope that real change is actually possible. And you have to understand, this is happening on a massive scale. The response, both inside Bangladesh and from the diaspora all over the world, is being described as spontaneous and totally unprecedented. There's this widespread belief that this new, young movement can actually deliver what the old political parties never could, a real break from the past. So, when you boil it all down, all this energy, all this hope, all this activism, it's all powered by one singular vision. It's the desire for a truly new beginning, not just another spin on the same old exploitative system with a different face in charge. This vision for a new Bangladesh, it's clear, it's ambitious, but with any profound transformation like this, the road ahead is going to be filled with obstacles. It leaves us with a really critical question. When you're trying to rebuild a nation from the ground up, what is the single biggest challenge you absolutely have to overcome?